Ethical leadership involves remembering, retelling, and reliving stories. You are a master storyteller. Some of your stories are so insightful, and you draw them from a huge dramatic repository, your own experience.
A lot of us are just much more comfortable contributing to people who need help, who we can see and experience, but that may not be the most efficient basis for where we donate our dollars. So there are a variety of aspects of behavior that keep even those of us who aspire to be more utilitarian from reaching that. In Joshua Green's book Moral Tribes, he uses the term deep pragmatism.
Mm-hmm.
And so chapter 11 of his book, I think, is one of my favorite chapters on ethics anywhere. But it's basically outlining what does it mean to try to be more utilitarian, knowing that it's a goal state that you're never going to quite get to. But if we see the barriers that keep us from acting in that way, we can move in that direction. And when Green talks about depragmatism, he kind of thinks of deontological rules,
mm-hmm.
either as barriers or as aspects that, if we thought about, would say they are long-term utilitarian, so that there are rules that we follow in society that may not make sense in the decision we're making now, but because people follow those set of rules, society can function better. And from his perspective, as I understand his work, it's deeply pragmatic to
mm-hmm.
incorporate those deontological roles, even for a utilitarian, and even if utilitarians and deontologists would end up in arguments over whether something that would be deeply deontological can in fact be utilitarian from a long-term perspective. So those are the kinds of struggles
right.
that I think about. And but if you ask me, sort of as I think about my writing, my teaching, what do I want to do? I want to move people to create more pleasure and less pain
mm-hmm.
in society generally, and it's a clear enough goal state that I think I can play a minor role in moving us in those directions, and I can also use that as a criteria for how should I lead my life, or how should I tilt my life from where it is now to how I can be a notch better person. And for me, a notch better person means creating more pleasure, less pain for more people.
How do you walk this thin line between utilitarianism, as you've defined it, and deontological ethics?
Trolley's coming down a track, it's going to kill 5 people. You're on the side of the track, you can turn a switch. If you turn a switch, you move it off of the track where it would kill 5 people, but you move it onto a track where there's one innocent person who will die as a result. And us utilitarians, of course, say save 5. It only costs 1. One death is better than 5 deaths. There's nothing particularly complex about that. On the other hand, when we change that problem to there are 5 people in a hospital, all who need 1 organ to survive, so should we take somebody off of the street who's perfectly healthy and against their will have them die so that we can harvest 5 organs to save 5 people? Mm-hmm. We say, no, we don't want to do that. Okay, there has to be wisdom in the notion
mm-hmm.
that we don't want to live in a society where people are constantly concerned about walking by hospitals because someone could pull you in and kill you to save 5 other people. So there's a long-term logic, and I think that practical utilitarians would say, in fact, it would not be good for society if we could pull that person off of the street, okay, because of long-term outcomes in the future that would be impacted because we didn't have that kind of role that you shouldn't pull people off the street.
Right.
In the trolley problem, it's abstract. We tell people you live in trolley land, there are no legal implications, and now it becomes fairly easy to say saving 5 is better than saving 1. and it's an easy problem. But we need to take into account these roles. Again, I think that Peter Singer, Josh Green, some of the modern leading thinkers from a utilitarian perspective, I think would sort of concur that we don't take the person off the street, and they would argue, I think, and I hope I'm not misrepresenting them, that that's long-term good utilitarianism.